Well, that being the case, with us all here and all back, save Abner, let's allow me the pleasure of extending a welcome and a thanks to you all. This is our Friday night get-together. It's our Friday night jam session. This is our exploration of our wide and wondrous world of darkness. This is officially Season 2 of In the Shadow of the White City, Episode 1, and the title, excuse me for a second, sorry about that. The title of tonight's episode is Perfection is Impossible. When we last left our troupe, various existential realities bombarded them. They managed to survive the carnage and destruction that took place at the Dolton Disco. They managed to navigate the ever prickly and mine-filled arena that is kindred politics at the vote of Dolton, where the Dom and the kindred of Dolton as a whole, by majority, decided that they would become an independent entity, free of all claims to the tower, as well as all ties to the anarchs, and remain a completely true free state of either sect. Unfortunately, our troupe was chosen as the emissaries of this message, and carried the message with them to the fountainhead of the anarch movement in the south suburbs of the city of Chicago. They traipsed into Riverdale waving the flag of independence, which turned out to be a threat from one of the advisors to Dalton's Senate. A threat that force would be met with force, that violence would be visited upon violence, and that Dolton was, in fact, its own independent state. That same message or similar one had been carried both to Chicago as well as to Gary, declaring Dolton free of all ties and all claims. And in that freedom, swept in the agents of the Second Inquisition, First Light, Searchlight, Blacklight, Theist, and all manner of other would-be heroes against the darkness that is the lives of kindred. The troupe also travailed into Gary as the vanguard to an assault by agents of the Second Inquisition, and not merely agents, but kill squads as they were. Sash agents who moved like the hammer that they are, obliterating everything in their path and leaving carnage in their wake. Easily covered up carnage. After all, there was a fire and a gas leak and a traffic incident and all number of minor, mundane things happening, at least as far as the public is concerned. Returning home to Dolton after surviving such peril comes to the realization that only by the sweat of their brow, only by their efforts could and would things change. Whether that change is for the better or for the worse, that decision has yet to be made. But since that moment, since those few breaths of peace and release, basking in the independence that comes from being part of the free state, we move forward in time a few weeks. Plans and machinations of our troupe having taken root and set the pace of what is the new normal, with Everett rising in esteem as far as those of note are concerned within the Chantry and the Midwestern warlocks and wizards, with David coming to a wider network of those who would use his services to ensure various parcels are delivered, with Abner and his ties to various organizations taking on more responsibility, and with Dami working diligently towards, while not taking whole part and becoming a hierophant to the very real organizational ties and cult-like demeanor of his blood, getting closer to the truth of things as they lie in Dolton. We pick up at the start of the evening, rising for another night of unlife with Everett. There is a very finely written calligraphic invitation on your door, clearly written by hand by those who have done so for at least a few decades, if not for a few centuries. The call of your beast hunger echoing in your ear, your silk robes hanging as ever stylishly from your shoulders as you look over the invitation. There is a gathering of the Chantry as a member is welcomed once more into the bosom of the Chantry house. You are cordially invited to the Central Chantry to make an appearance, to show face.
Oh, how lovely. Everett is a bit surprised that they're so welcoming, but he does. It's true. He's been gaining status, a name for himself within the Trumio clan, so he wouldn't want to lose face by not inviting somebody of importance. And Everett, we kind of laugh a little bit as he disposes of the letter to not disrupt the masquerade, and he put on nicer clothing than usually he wears. You know, this is most like a really nice shoe with a maroon color t-shirt, slacks, dress shoes, and he makes sure to dress with all his jewelries of silver, rings and necklaces and occult symbols. And he prepares to leave to the meeting just to show face and gather information.
Okay, so what is he going to do for a retinue? Making an appearance to a party without being properly appointed is just as bad as not being invited. He needs a security detail, he needs a driver, he needs a body man or woman, but you know, the phrasing is body man. He needs to put on the actual image of what he's projecting.
Did the letter just say Jamil invited, or is it okay for him to invite other people?
If it was a specifically Chantry only function, you probably would have had one of the Chantry's independent sheriffs at your door. One of the security force for the Chantry would have been knocking on your door. And as far as you are aware, last year, not long after what happened at the disco, there was a promotion of one such individual, a Mr. Fairmont, who has somehow risen through the ranks and become Dusabo's sword when it comes to intra-clan issues.
As he's getting ready to leave, he texts the group, "They're ready for a party, dress nicely."
With that text sent, the beast crawls closer to the surface. While it has not been so long since you've last fed, the beast keeps its own time. And though 2 nights of feeding can last up to a month, or it can last not even those 2 nights, in this particular case, the beast is demanding succor and sustenance. It would be bad form arriving without the proper retinue and craving sustenance.
What day of the week is it?
Let's say Friday.
Ooh, I have my favorite boy available, so let me check if he's available. And I'm gonna call up, what's his name? Max Houghton.
Max. Good old Max. All right. Do you have herd?
Yes, I do.
Excellent. And how many dots of herd do you have?
2.
Excellent. So we're going to take those 2 dots and add it to your hunting roll. And what's your preference? What has imprinted upon you and your beast as to how to obtain sustenance? Are you a sensualist?
No, I'm the other one, Oasis.
You're an Osiris or a Singing Queen? I forget which.
Osiris, there you go.
That being the case, would you be so kind as to roll manipulation and subterfuge, adding your 2 dots of herd? And where you are, your results need to be on your home territory, getting them to come to you. You need 2 successes or higher to make full contact and have someone hungrily running to your domicile.
5.
It is not too often where your herd of pets and blood partners and donors nets such a lovely situation. Max is in the company of several other members of your herd. They have thrown a party that was supposed to be just after work drinks that has turned into something considerably more. So after work drinks became massage, oil, party, sampling, and before you know it, having reached out to Max, your front lot has been filled with several different cars, with several different well-heeled, manicured, and well-kept gentlemen who love nothing more than to bask in your company. If you like, you may easily feed, not just to leaving one small portion of hunger, not even being packaged, but you can feed until there is nothing left of your hunger if you choose, very, very easily. Would you give in and indulge to that level?
No, these are my boys. These are my favorite pets. I can't hurt them. I only give them pleasure, so I won't take it down to 0.
Well, giving till it hurts is not necessarily a bad thing, and they're more than willing to sample to the last drop and more at this particular evening. They have had their opportunity to share a certain level of sensuality that leaves them in the most restive and happy states. Their endorphins are literally off the chain. They are high on being high on life. They are ratcheted up to 10 and then taking it up another 10 is where they are when they bombard and partake in your presence.
I make sure to give them each little sample for them not to be lonely, and I make sure to feed from each one of them for them to experience some type of pleasure, even if it lasts for a little while.
So giving. So it really turns into a very, very real pseudo orgy, while the efforts don't always, in this particular case, result in a physical release. For you, at least. For them, it is the highest bit of nirvana that they can reach and still have 2 feet planted on this particular plane of existence. And as you indulge and they partake, and one leads to the next, we shift gear as touch begets touch and pleasure begets pleasure. Dami, the real fact of your investigations thus far and over these last few weeks, G is not G. Basalt is part of the wide network of sewer rats. She They are an information broker that can connect one with the next, and it is their job, it is their avocation, it is their hobby, it is their religion, testing security. And your system presented itself as the most unassailable system. The challenge was irresistible. Over the last week or so, you guys have been exchanging cat and mouse traps electronically, but the reality of what has been happening leads you to believe that it was two things happening at once, two incidents, two deep dives and red team offenses leveled at you and your company. So kind of go ahead and roll your rouse roll for the evening.
I did, and I got 0 successes. I rolled a 5.
Well, much like Everett, you awaken to the evening with the very real teeth and claws of the beast sinking into the flesh, at least the flesh of the mind. With that information as to what your investigations have resulted in, are you, with the beast riding you like its very own thoroughbred? What is your aim for the evening?
I'm going to see if I can get any clue from the network, a possible tag from a computer, a possible maybe an IP address that I could possibly backtrace, maybe a network ID, something that I can actually latch on to.
Okay, but you, that being the case, you're going to ignore the calls of the flesh, you're going to ignore the calls of the beast. Your hunger is at 2, which go ahead and roll wits and either academics or technology, whichever is higher.
All right. Three successes.
You know you're on the right path. You know that through that doorway that there should be, and then your phone goes off. You without realizing it, have spent the boon and benefit of the extra early hours with winter being present here in the Midwest. You know that you have lost those hours whiling away electronically. Your phone goes off with a message from Everett. You need to be dressed and ready for a party.
Respond one word. The fuck?
Looking at your clock, you realize that you rose from your death sleep far earlier than normal. You managed to be awake right around 4:15, 4:30 when the sun was dipping below the horizon line. And looking at the clock now, you realize that 4 hours have passed roughly, just after 8. And as the realization as to the time lost for the evening, as was often the case, the night done burned itself away, sonny boy. Well, you hear her voice softly in your ear, a gentle scolding and benediction for you to exist in the here and now, the world around you. Sonny. No one has called you Sonny in so long. No one has called you by any loving epitaph since her death, since the disco, when those from the city and their enemies rained hellfire down on the city, taking from the village kindred that cannot and will not be replaced. Von Evan, the second oldest kindred in the entirety of the village. Olamide, your sire, your real connection with the world, your honest connection with the world, because even as old as she was, she lived every night. She embraced the village, tending to the network that the Samdi have established, moving from church to church or club to club, passing out benedictions and aid and succor to those in need, both mortal and kindred. You think back to the moment when she got your brother his job and helped him make the connection necessary for him to throw his lavish, unending parties that has provided for him, and through him has provided for your family. And through your family, all of those other lives that they touch, she's not there anymore. And taking a breath, you realize, one, that you don't need it, and two, that the beast is using your off-kilter emotional state to attempt to have its way with you. And if you allow it, you know that it will have you moving to the excess that will definitively leave scars upon the world as you take those living and breathing and leave them in the land of the dead.
Okay. I get dressed. Something kind of generic because I have I know it's with Everett, so it's probably going to be premiere related. So, button down, power suit, powder blue button down, black tie, and then I actually just kind of wait and ask him, send him another text. I'm hoping that there's going to be vitae because I haven't said yet.
What was the message again?
Hope there's vitae because I haven't said yet.
You hope that it's vitae because you had to pay a cab?
He stated that he hopes that there will be vitae, as he has not fed yet. He has not consumed. He is where you are, or where you were a few moments ago. Half an hour ago. Almost an hour ago. As you divest yourself of a tangle of limbs and carefully apply pressure, massaging your latissimus dorsi and rubbing your deltoids. You untangle from the mass of people enjoying and indulging in a sensuality that would have ecstasy users envious.
I'm just gonna text back. I didn't know that was your feeling type. Try not to ingest anything that other people give you, and I'll send that text back. Don't basically didn't know that was your type. Don't drink anything that other people give you.
Not the most looked for answer, meaning that the evening won't be catered. And if it is catered, there's a chance that there may be a very real trap latent therein, leaves you with the very real need to obtain, to vent yourself so that you don't arrive in the full grips of that's crawling around your inside.
Alright, let me see if I can make a phone call and try to beat him here. I'm going to use my herd and hunt and try to find someone real quick so that I can grab the gun.
Well, taking a quick gander as to where Dominic's actual home is, he's not that far from the very real, darker portions of the village. He very much is just inside the comfortable bubble of the suburban. He's just off the main street there at 139th, 138th. So heading over to that small portion of ne'er-do-wells, scaring up a bite to eat, it would not be that difficult for the way that he obtains. Because despite how disconnected from humanity he is on a nightly basis, and how often he engages electronically, he really does engage by attack feeding. So kind of go ahead and roll your strength plus brawl. Your target number is 3. And see what you scare up.
Two successes.
Would you like to exert any additional effort, or
Yeah,
you good?
I exerted a little bit of effort. Alright, so it says 2 successes.
Yeah, that means that fate has every intention of making sure that you have it. Now, at this point, before describing the scene that unfolds, would you like to succeed at cost, or would you like to take the 2?
I like to succeed at cost.
All right, sounds like a plan. Now, one of the things that isn't usually touched on with dealing with the Sandi or with the family, the Hekata, who pretty much have an underground network of sources and influence over the village, it is literally a soul-searing pain when you all feed. The inner workings of life cease to be in those moments when you decide to feed. There's a pain that courses through those victims that counteracts nearly every facet of pleasure that can erupt from the kiss.
Sounds like a definite problem, but not mine, so,
Yeah, your bite is painful. Your kiss is not pleasurable. It is a fight.
None in the least. I make sure that it's quick, it's over quickly, and at least one of us enjoys it. Maybe not them, though.
Alright, so as you feed, several things happen, as they always do, in the moment of chaos and blood that happens, that needs to take place for you to cure some of the sustenance goals that you have for yourself. I'm just going to go ahead and roll strength and brawl twice for me, please.
Sure, not a problem. Strength and brawl twice. Alright, 2 successes and 4 successes.
The fight is over fairly quickly, at least initially. When you start divesting your chosen victim of their blood, their cries of pain unfortunately don't go unheeded, which is the normal SOP for this area, for this type of evening. It's just a mugging, move along. At least that's normally how it works out. Unfortunately for your case, that is not what happens this evening. The cries for help don't go unheeded. There is a crowd of men and women who are seeking to help what appears to be mugged individual. And as you fight them off and beat them back and send them fleeing and scrabbling from your situation, you are very sure that there will be an increased police presence in this area going forward as you make it out of the area, fed and all the not quite worse for the evening.
So definitely going to be having to mark this area off for a bit of time as the no-fly zone. Just a bit.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And as you make it back to your flat, careful to have not taken your car or anything that makes this moment, this exchange, anything memorable to those that are easily of the sort. We switch our gaze to Abner. In the last month of operating, of finding the realities of just how desperately, just how inclined Black Light is in regards to putting down this demonstrable threat to society at large. The fact that they were willing to make deals to utilize the monsters in service and monsters outside of yourself. How is Abner?
Interesting, to say the least. Abner's been spending the past few weeks, well, on the hunt of sorts. On that note, I am hungry. And how will I spend this evening? Most likely, try to go hunting.
Okay. That being the case, is he attempting to lure? No. That's not quite evocative enough of a question. Fishing is hunting, but it's a hunting of the variety of setting out bait and waiting. Hunting happens in two different, very obvious styles. Either there's the lay low and similar to fishing, but where you don't actually have any bait. You kind of just watch the areas where your prey congregates. Or you go on safari, go looking specifically for your prey. How is he attempting to hunt?
I guess look for prey. That's the best way I can put it.
Okay. Well, that being the case, would you be so kind as to go ahead, wits, and brawl for me, please?
Of course. 2 successes.
It is with no exaggeration. You have given up any pretense of being anything other than what you are, and that is a hunter of once men and women. You are a hunter of monsters. You are a beast giving flesh, fighting and scrabbling for the light, but using every bit of darkness you have to you. The whole idea of being a stalking, stealthy shadow has flown out of the window because over the last few weeks, the need has presented itself far more often than it has previously. All pretenses are gone. You stalk like the very hungry and ravenous predator you are. Resting outside of the harmony as kindred come and go, you throw caution to the wind just enough to make sure that you are successful. In the doing, you lay low a particularly odious kindred who, in her hunting, you have seen in the presence of not a small amount of barely legal tender. She preys on those and grooms those who are young enough of mind to be able to be molded. She runs an agency of sorts, a day labor, although in this case it's a night labor agency, and she interviews young men and women who are desperate. They need the money. They would prefer not to end up in the tent city on the eastern portion of town, of the village. They prefer to not have to barter themselves illicitly. And she preys upon these near adults, not quite old enough to have lived long enough to know what the consequences of their actions are. It has taken no small amount of effort on your part to capture her. She's wily enough to always know that she's not the biggest fish. Unfortunately for her, her luck runs out tonight. You fall like darkness itself. And are you slaking completely, or just the 2 you
I actually need 3, but in this case, I'll slate completely. I don't know if I was able to be heard.
Yes, you were.
Alright,
You give vent to all of the conflicted and confused darkness in you. And as you divest this particular kindred of their continued existence, you know that, well, fate moves as fate moves. Damn your eyes. And as she grays until a muddy, less than living complexion, her skin becomes a little chalky, her eyes become vacant. You realize that there is nothing left there. There is no bit of grace. There's no bit of life. She was clearly far more monstrous than even she knew she was. The fact that there is something left, there are bones and flesh, though far more aged than she appeared, lets you know that she was young enough to leave a very decent looking corpse. What are you going to do with it? As your phone goes off, you need to be dressed for a party.
I text, what?
Ava takes back a party. Dress nicely. If you need an outfit, I'll bring you one.
I don't respond. I just go to try to dispose of the annoying body.
How will you do so?
Quick question. Is there any dirt in this alleyway?
In the alleyway? No. Looking at the map, you can see that where the Harmony is marked off on the map. That's approximately where you are, in the rear of that building. So, yeah, not far. Well, depending on how quickly you choose to maneuver, not far away is the river. To your north, to your east is downtown, and well, you see the area.
Give me a second here to see better. You said the river is where? I'm trying to...
North of you.
North of me, okay.
Yeah, northwest of you, where you are.
Can you relink the map, by the way? I think I lost it.
Okay. No worries. Give me one quick second here.
Here it is. Let's see if I have... Okay, access is denied. But request has been sent.
That makes... Let's see if we can do it this way, because it's acting at ours.
Anyway, with the... Let's see here. If I remember correctly, okay, yes, I do have that. With that, I was Soaring Leap, and I currently have Potence 2. I can jump if I... Let me check here. Soaring Leap. I can jump up to 10 meters into the air.
Mm-hmm.
That's 30. Jesus.
There's 3 stories, basically, yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to grab the body and jump onto a nearby building, and then I'm going to try to carry it over to the river.
Okay. Well,
it'll make it look like a serial killing.
Well, there are several serial killers who are actually active in the Chicagoland area currently. So that is not all that hard to do, especially in this particular area. There have been several over the last year. The frequency seems to be increasing.
I don't like that.
But those thoughts put to the side, divesting yourself of the remains of this particular kindred. Where are you heading? Are you heading back to your place to get suited and booted, which is, northeast of where you are? Or are you going to go directly to Everett's home so you can have words with him?
I'll go to Everett's home because he probably has a better suit than me and have words with him. On that note, by the way, access is still denied.
Yeah, okay. So I will figure out what the hell's going on with the map, because that should not be the case. I have worked on it over the last week, so everything should have been saved, but we will deal with in a quick second with that. And while we switch gears as Abner makes his way across the village towards Everett's secluded, refined abode, David, snapping awake, looking at the interior door of your trailer. After the warmth and finery of both Kalia, Abner's, and Everett's abode, there is something particularly less homey about your trailer. While you move around to keep others from finding you, there is no shortage of those who do, those who seek you out. So much so that you've taken up keeping a postage box at the UPS store just around the corner from the pool hall in downtown Dolton. Tonight is not one of those nights where you're a little excited to get to your box and check any deliveries that are needed or anything else. Yet the realities of sleeping in your trailer so disconnected from the humanity you once loved, the humanity that brought you to this current condition of living, kind of settles in. Please kind of go ahead, roll your rouse roll for the evening. Your beast, despite your current minorly depressive state of not, being someplace warm and fine and dripped with the details of a life lived. There are no pictures on your wall of your high school glory days. There's no, stuffed animals on the bed. There's no carved knickknacks cluttering your countertops. There is the fact that you know that there are monsters who will eat you whole out there in the dark. And outside of your security, to make sure that doesn't happen, or that's a far more difficult of an occurrence, the warmth that you heard in your brother's voice a few weeks ago when lying about your current state, the bric-a-brac and knickknacks from Kalia's grandfather that still adorned her haven, even as depressively alone as Abner is, the real warmth of hearing other people, his neighbors moving behind their walls, making their way through the night, is considerably lacking from your trailer. Especially being as you can hear the sounds of the forest preserve settling for the evening outside your door. One of the real banes and problems of living as you do is that you can never really get accustomed to your neighbors.
There's no use moping around. I'm gonna get out, unhook the truck, go into town for the UPS store.
Starting up the truck, it is a miracle that this truck has been so well kept. Something poured their life into keeping this truck pristine. It is older than most of the buildings you have seen throughout the village. Not that, architecture is your thing, but just basic construction lets you know approximately how old a building is. There are some homes that stretch back 40, 50 years, but this truck was long out of fashion before most of the buildings in the village were built or even thought of. This truck is older than your father's father's father. And yet it runs and hums like it has been kept up with daily love and care. As you drive through town towards the UPS store, your phone explodes into life, vibrating right out of your pocket onto the bench seat next to you. It is from Everett, telling you to be dressed.
Well, I'm already dressed, so I guess I'm ready.
Was that the response you sent back, or is that just you put it back in your pocket and ignore it?
I'm gonna send him the snide response. I head to the UPS anyway.
Everett will send one back. Do you need an outfit? I could help you with that as well.
Last time I bought clothes probably when I was alive, so I could probably use that. Yeah, I send back.
Send me your size and I'll pick something for you.
Medium. I don't know. Let me check my pants.
Difficult to check the tag while you're sitting in them, but as you make your way toward the village center where the UPS store is, you realize there is a heightened police presence. There, you spot 2 unmarked, 1 marked, 1 sheriff's car. You see 4 uniformed officers walking the beat. And literally something in your head screams, the jig is up, they're onto us.
I exhale, doesn't do much anymore. More a coping mechanism. I search around the block to see just how many cops are around here, maybe what they're here for.
You count 10. Roll your wits and either streetwise or investigation, whichever is higher. With them going in and out of the businesses, they are clearly looking for someone, and your spidey sense is tingling so hard it's causing your leg to jump and bounce. While you don't have the same natural chemical stew bombarding your system, the memory of that is what's driving you now. The adrenaline, the fear, the panic, but there is still the overwhelming sense that they are clearly looking for someone. And someone who frequents this area is what your senses are telling you.
I don't want to get profiled for some other bloodsucker they're looking for. I'm going to evacuate out of the area. Just head toward Everett.
Well now. So you circle around the block, you spot the police, you scope them out, you kind of do a counter surveillance to what they're attempting to drum up and drive towards. And as you exit the area, you catch the telltale lights as a car starts up behind you and pulls out. You know it's only a matter of time before the quick whoop of them turning on the siren to catch your attention happens. You can either bounce, step into a full-on high-speed chase, or you can pull over. Which would you do?
I don't think this thing can go very fast, and I'll beat them. I think maybe diplomacy is best here.
You pull over you ease to the side of the road and attempt to seem calm and unfazed and unbothered as the officer steps out of the car and immediately turns on his flashlight. Not only is the handheld searchlight on the side of the car on, making sure that it's impossible to see any detail out of your rear view or side view mirror, he uses his handheld flashlight as well as he eases closer to the driver's door, keeping the light trained on you, specifically in your face and eyes areas as he walks up. You know it's a he based on the voice and the scent that hits you. It smells like Brute aftershave and Irish Spring soap mixed with the telltale stench of mineral oil used to clean firearms. You know how fast you were going?
I'm pretty sure I was going the speed limit, officer.
Pretty sure it doesn't seem to be like positive now, is it? So you don't.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, he's just being a smart ass. So you don't know how fast you were going, you're just guessing, huh?
I'm not totally sure this old clunker's speedometer is accurate.
So you're driving in a non-service vehicle. You're unsure how fast you were going.
That's it.
He turns off the flashlight, and there is a tan-skinned, gray-haired individual. He's wearing a dark chocolate two-piece suit that's open at the waist for easy draw. You can clearly spot the butt of one firearm on his hip, but you can swear that one firearm wouldn't be enough for the scent of mineral oil to punch you in the nose as hard as it has. His glasses reflect the light from his car, and he dares lean a little closer. So, you know what happens at this point, right?
You let me off with a warning, and I'm on my way.
Yeah, we could do that. Or I can make you disappear, and there'll be one less blank body in the world, right?
Okay, can I roll chemistry real quick?
You would have heard Abner use that word before.
Like to fake his radio going off. I know it can't be anything specific, but just chatter.
Okay.
Ossificate plus manipulation, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, now, look at that. He stands up and looks towards his car, and then side-eyes towards you. You know what? I guess we gotta shorten this up. I can't threaten you as much as I would like, but the abandoned king had cameras. Because of your association and who you associate with, you will receive a small pass. But tell your buddies that the central business district is off limits until further notice. There aren't to be any more bodies. There aren't to be any more violence. Otherwise, we will go door to door until we find you. You all. We clear, buddy?
Clear as crystal.
Mm-hmm. And he backs away and backs back toward the police car. You've been threatened by things that could lift cars and punch holes in solid brick buildings and tear steel to pieces. But there is something about the surety that he presented that causes a whole nother level of paranoia. Nothing like being found during the day, knowing that no matter how much you fight, the sun is something that you can't avoid, is particularly affecting. Do you make your way toward Everett?
As fast as possibly can.
All right. Now, as everyone convenes or heads back to their places, we'll take a little earlier of a break, and I'll see you guys back here at 9:30. Well, 32 after the hour.
Okay. Still, the map hates me. The map hates me so much.
I haven't gotten toward either.
I hate this map because it does not like me.
I would like you when you put work into it.
Media. I'm trying to find a sheet that a V5 sheet that I personally can enjoy. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense.
For your character sheet?
Yeah, character sheet.
I like impossible to use.
You find which one do impossible to use?
Just certain ones.
I like the Needric one. The nerd. Well, I don't know what it was called. I don't remember what it was called. I don't know how to phrase that.
Just for a quick example, how tall is Abner and David, and how big are they? So I could just have an estimate. Shoot.
I don't think he's very big. Let me see his. He is 175 centimeters, and he weighs 82 kilograms.
I need to do the math with that.
My sheet didn't even have stuff like that. I just kind of imagined him like 5'9", 5'10", skinny.
So they're shorter than me. So they're shorter than Everett.
Neat.
Because if I didn't... Admiral, you said 173.
173?
Oh, what did you say?
175. 175.
Yeah, Everett is 5'11", and you're 5'7". Or 5'1", 5'7", if you want round down, since it isn't over 5.
Well, inch from each other, I guess. Kind of funny. How tall is Dami? If you're here.
By the way, I wanted brains. Good. Yes.
I didn't hear you, David. What did you say?
Everyone was talking about the character's height, so I asked, "What's your character's height?"
Oh, he's 6'1".
That's kind of funny. We're all in a range. 5'7", 5'9", 5'11", 6'1". Perfect for the
30 type, I guess.
It's perfect for the police lineup. That'll never happen.
Well, considering that they're bothering you because of what I did, I'm gonna hope that we don't end up in a police lineup.
I just want to point out, I'm not responsible.
I'm glad he didn't make me roll against the guy's stats, because that 2 would probably not have beat anything.
Depends if he's using brains. Good.
I had to roll against their. I had to look. It's resolving something.
I don't know. I'm just glad that he's not having me deal with the cup, because I'm kind of in a mood today. So I probably would have said something that would have got us shot.
It's okay. If you said something wrong, everyone would just wave his hand, but like,
I know you
saw
have,
that.
You're the one with fortitude. Most likely to survive it.
I mean, he's got a point. Yeah, I gotta have fortitude.
You get us riddled, but you might survive and walk away.
I also have potence, but that's neither here nor there.
Are you a Giovanni Hecata? What Hecata bloodline are you?
I actually never actually. I think I'm more of a generic one. I never actually specialized.
So just generic. New embrace, no real defining characteristics.
Right. That's the reason why I'm kind of an outcast, because, yeah.
And by default, the generic one is kind of just, how do I put it? Cappadocious in a way.
I think I would kind of lean towards that direction, but I don't think I have all the cool powers that Cappadocians had, so.
No, Cappadocians.
They had like the shittiest form of necromancy, to my understanding, back in
kinda. They had the oldest and least defined. That's the main reason they actually embraced Augustus Giovanni.
Oh, so it's a backstab, basically, with Augustus going against the Cappadocians.
Yeah, Augustus managed to, during his day, was a prolific henge mage, a very powerful one. And Cappadocius wanted to use his knowledge of that to improve his clan's knowledge of necromancy. So Augustus managed to convince, actually was the candidate to the embrace for multiple individuals, but in fact ended up, what's the word? Words. Brain.
I also just remember he gave him a drat of blood. He got embraced, and then he did the great portrayal.
Yeah.
He didn't really ever answer to that. They just sort of pretend he doesn't exist in V5. And he got killed by like some Cappadocian or like that. He's just like somewhere in the Shadowlands currently.
Cappadocian? Actually, according to rumors, his soul was actually fractured upon the embrace.
Why? Because when he was a mage, right? So they kind of his avatar goes away or something like that.
Maybe. It could have been that. It could have also been. There was a lot going on there.
There's a whole like canon chronicle about it, I think.
I honestly kind of stayed away from most of these clans, so this really wasn't kind of a thing. He just kind of said, "Hey, roll a 6-sided," and that's what came up. So I usually stay more in the Camarilla side or.
Oh, so you didn't know what to play, so you just got randomly chosen.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, it's mainly because he kind of said, no, you can't use your normal. No, you can't go within something that you normally play. So you got to pick something of these 3 clans, and I knew absolutely nothing about them. So I just kind of rolled with it.
Understood. In my opinion, I really, really like Hecata. They are one of my favorite clans. Ironically, here's the thing: in older eras, Hecata were heavily Christianized. They actually primarily embraced monks, and they actually believed. It was interesting. There was actually a story about that where Hecata was literally.
Do they practice fasting? Am I misremembering something?
Some of the Hecata did, yes.
I wish they would have gave me that option so that I could do that, but no, he says, no, you gotta feed. I'm like, alright, fine. And actually, he's kind of weirdly agnostic to everything that the whole clan follows. That's the reason why he's like weirdly agnostic to all of the stuff that they say. He thinks that they're kind of a cult.
Oh, they are 100% a cult, actually.
Well, that's kind of the reason why I'm almost like, I'm not quite sure how I help Coterie, because I'm kind of weirdly agnostic, so I can't really do a whole lot. And I really haven't been able to use many of my powers because they're kind of unfocused, and I'm not quite sure what to do about it.
The thing about it, at this point, the Christian stuff's just lip service.
It was mostly, but at
this point, if there's any Christian stuff, it's just bullshit at this point. You don't really believe any of it because they don't believe it. To role play it.
Well, I tried that, and he was like, no. And I was like, alright, well, fine, he's agnostic. And so now that's the reason why every time you've seen him run into one of his clan mates, they were always kind of like, yeah, I'm not helping you get the hell out of here.
But yeah, Hecata are 100% a cult. 100%.
Oddly enough, I would have played a Toreador if he had allowed me, but he said no. No Toreadors, no martial artists, no nothing. So I'm like, well,
do you usually play that?
Yeah.
He might have just been trying to get you to try something else.
Oddly enough, he's like, this version is like a watered down version of a character that I would actually play. So that's kind of the problem. That's why I tend to not say a whole lot or not do a lot of interaction, because I'm not quite sure how this character would respond in certain situations. He's not really a fighter. He's not really a necromancer. He's not really a meat shield. He's just sort of in between.
From what I've seen, you're kind of like just paranormal investigator, right? Maybe you lean on it more.
He's acting more of a kind of like a second-rate fighter, but more of an IT guy. And since we really don't do much with computers, he's just sort of there. And it's like 4 dots and skills that I almost never use.
I honestly expected us to do something against the SI, which tech would be pretty useful. I guess that's for a later date, maybe.
Maybe, because that would be nice, but as you're saying, only time I actually get to use anything in tech was usually when he's alone at his own haven by himself. Other than that, no.
mostly just been literally sneaking in the old-fashioned way, which is the kind of a problem. Yeah, going to unlock doors or anything like that.
I think he would make it lock probably old, like medieval style, just to spite me if I actually.
I would love like a high-tech heist sort of session, where I need to like grab some info from some high-level SI's laptop or something like that.
That would be awesome. Somehow I don't think it ever happened in this chronicle, but that would be awesome.
Why do you think that?
The flow, just kind of the flow in the character's interaction. Somehow I don't think he'd ever have us do any type of
It's at a low power. We're kind of like just local problem solver. Well, only our own problems, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even up to this point, he's kind of gearing me towards finding out who Salt is. But then he tells me it's a group of, I almost want to say that they might be Nosferatu, but they basically hacked my system, and it's like, okay, that's weird. But I'm thinking that I'm trying to figure out how can I actually get that into the gameplay, but so far I haven't gotten anything besides, hey, this is what's happening, and every character's gonna go, yeah. So that's what I'm kind of working on right now, trying to draw you guys into that. Maybe we can do a high-speed test.
That's not interesting. Definitely then, like, just doing deliveries, like I don't know what character arc is right now.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm felt too. I'm trying to feel Dom out, but so far Dom is kind of like in the middle of everything. He's not really leaning heavy towards any one thing. He has high stats in certain things, but he doesn't. It's like kind of like a big old pot of gumbo. I haven't quite figured out what he's good at yet. But hopefully within the next 2 missions, because I don't know if you guys got any dots, but I got dots, but I have no idea where to put them yet.
What did you put your experience into, Abner?
I put it into 2 disciplines.
Everything just for the chemistry.
Oh, I'm happy you actually took chemistry.
Might be some fun antics. That should have just failed earlier. I expected it to, but you sort of let me go anyways.
What did you roll earlier? Oh, here it is.
I only rolled a 2. Yeah, so
let me
that
see
been
here.
Really like unconvincing radio chatter. They would just fall through instantly. The thing is are really rare though, so it might just use people. I don't know if probably any I have dealt with before. It's their other vampire kind of destroyed them. Oh, you can finally see the map. Nice. I know you saw it, but a lot of work into it. You did. Sad that I couldn't see it until now.
Well, it kicked me out like 3 weeks ago, and I told him, hey, I can't get into it, and he just kind of said, oh, okay. So I just kind of shrugged and kept going. It worked. Cool. Now we can actually do stuff with it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. You got chemistry.
All right, so I'm taking everybody's back.
Yep.
Everett? No.
All right. So we're just waiting on Ev.
Most likely.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. All right, so
Business shoes. I'm like, oh, there you go, Abner.
He says as he takes the shoes and puts them on.
And that's not even the fun part. This time we go into accessories. and I take him to my jewelry box, and I'm like, "Do you wear jewelry?"
At this point, I'm just hoping someone comes to that door and kills me.
That's a no. I know, and I make sure to dress him in jewelry as well.
Abner just has at this point, you would see his third eye because he has unbandaged that, and it just looks annoyed as well.
So, if looks could kill is a very apropos metaphor. While taking it that a similar, though decidedly less immediately noticeable exchange happens with David, who, well, from what we understand, it's kind of enjoying the fact that he gets new clothes that he can ruin in his own pace and time.
Why do I have to wear this monkey suit?
And as you ask that, we will shift forward in the evening with everyone dressed in relatively stylish attire, 2-piece or 3-piece and what have you. You all find yourselves in the city proper, not in the village, but in the city at the W Hotel. It was the scene of, according to rumors, the largest party in the entirety of the Midwest when it comes to the Kindred. Purportedly, the Imperium party that was held here is the stuff of legends, even more raucous and debaucherous than the disco itself. It included both kindred and kind and all manner of emotional, mental, and physical perversity, with as much presentation and over-the-top glitz and glam than if this was a combination of the Academy Awards and the People's Choice Award all combined into one hedonistic display of excess. At least that's what the rumors would have persisted in conveying. This evening, however, is another matter entirely. There are all manner of individuals. There's a rough and ready sort who clearly are armed with firearms of the most exotic level of death dealing possible, and there are men and women who are dressed in various degrees of finery, all of it ostentatious, but you can tell that some have an older sensibility than they should. The 4 of you are clearly here because of Everett. You guys are clearly his retinue. As you all look from where you all are to where everyone else is, it is clear that he is the man, and you all are his staff. You have David clearly being the chauffeur and assistant body man. You have Dami's bulk and size acting as clear lead bodyguard, and then you have the executive protector in Abner's tried and true form, while around you in various degrees and shades of reds and browns and blacks and blues, you see similar groupings, people who are here and their staff. You all are in the heart of a clear premier gathering. There are greetings and handshakes, 1 knuckle touches, 2 knuckle touches. There's a small exchange of hand signs, and there's a bow of greeting, and the sheer display of premier finery. For those of you who prefer to slink and skulk in the darkness, this is like being put on the grand stage, because you're not the only ones aware of the security. You're not the only ones aware of the finery and the trappings.
You tricked us.
No, I said we were going to a party. This is a party.
Fancy place.
And I go and I make the rounds, greeting everyone, first who has importance, and then next to the people that go below them, and finally to the people that all there. Moving down the line of greetings.
All fair, all very, very good. As the evening wanes and begins to wax, it becomes clear that this is a wholesale situation. Information is being exchanged, contracts are being verbally signed, and you know that those are the only binding sort, especially in this day and age of supernal paranoia when it comes to dealing with the electronic. The things that make themselves apparent is that the Chantry has promoted no small few number of individuals further in their careers with the pyramid. This party is a graduation of sorts. In this exchange of supernatural information, it becomes clear that Dolton is still considered wholly part of the tower, wholly part of Chicago proper, as people greet Everett as the assistant regent of the Dolton Protectorate. As members, oh, assistant regent, how are you? It's so good to see you again. It's nice and all stuffed shirt finery. There's no semblance of any secrecy, but you know that there's more being said or more being understood than what's actually visibly said. In the exchange with Dami, Abner, and David, would you be so kind as to roll wits in either streetwise or investigation, whichever is higher? And Everett, would you be so kind as to roll wits and subterfuge, please?
Yes.
Oops, I rolled it in general chat, not the dice room, but it was 3 successes.
Yes. Ooh, I see. And Dami, would you be so... All right. So, that being the case, let's start with the lowest result. Abner, Dami, you realize that not only are you guys not the only security team, but Everett is not the only member of the Chantry who has received or is being recognized as a person of authority. In the exchange of information that you all pick up from the security force moving around, there is an exchange of a case and a external drive between people that Everett has avoided. And there's not many people that Everett has avoided that are of any note, which means the individuals that they are exchanging the information, you know for a fact, is from the scuttlebutt and from listening and paying attention. It is an exchange of information between Adlai Worth and Winifred Chiatano. They're lower members of the pyramid as a whole, and for the most part, people tend to be avoiding them, which is never a good sign when people are here to show and prove, meaning that these people are on the out or nearly on the outs, or low enough where they can be easily snubbed for people to step on and step up to the next level. That information, Abner, you notice that information, the symbol on that drive, is one you know very, very intimately. It is a scimitar crossed with arming swords on top of a olive branch. And you know that that's the symbol of Sash. That's the symbol of ass kickers and name takers, with name taking not being anywhere in their skill set. If these people, if these Chicagoans have access to information that was formerly held by Sash, you know that that is the opening position for a war. That is an act of war. It is a declaration of getting the enemy's intelligence so that you can make plans to circumvent them completely and totally.
I'm double check. I'm asking this to clarify. These guys have the symbol of one of the one of the Inquisition branches.
Yes.
Okay. And chances are this would mean war for not only the Inquisition towards the Kindred, but also within Kindred politics, correct?
Yes.
I raise my eye. My third eye, by the way, is hidden by bandages again because I ain't showing that off in public. I raise my eyebrow and I just wait for Everett to finish his thing. Actually, I'm gonna whisper into David's ear and whisper, "We have a problem."
What kind of problem? I whisper back.
Inquisition problem.
Shit, where?
I don't point, but I kind of just eye where the individual with the badge is on, and I say, "That's the symbol of Sash. They're the main strike force. The people that are definitively are the destroyers." Go ahead.
The moment that Abner mentions Sash, David, you immediately think back to watching as they executed Living and Any State in Between back at the Abandoned King. Those were Sash agents and officers.
They're the worst ones. If they have the information, this is war, and it would be bad.
And while that bit of information is being exchanged between Abner and David, and with Dami having picked up on the exchange of it's a deal. You guys, you having been hands off with a lot of things, have had to do such drops of information on several accounts because of the very real fact that you are hired as a red team to test out the security of various other corporations and entities, and so they want to keep you as off book as possible. So you use big meetings like this or out of the way places for such drops to happen as a disguise and a distraction. And while that bit of information is being exchanged between you three, Everett, you notice that James has been working the room, but he's been keeping his distance as well. He seems to be pushing to climb another rung of the pyramid. Right now, what you have here in this space are the top 5 steps of the pyramid, leading right up to the top, being the regent of the Midwest, DuSable himself, with his 2 right-hand lieutenants, Aristotle and Sylvia Rains. You, however, notice that Sylvia, her crew of would-be Ipsissimus Tremere, are relatively hands-off as far as the others are concerned. They mix and mingle, and the polite finery of conversation is exchanged. However, there's no real interaction because conversations within the Chantry and within the trusted members of such happen on 2 levels at once: what's being presented and the real truth of what's being said. That way you all can talk in public about almost anything and maintain your secrecy and security. That sort of conversation has not happened with any member of Sylvia Rain's cult of personality within the pyramid, except James and the most recent sheriff of the Chantry have exchanged such information. James very much seems to be working Mr. Fairmont for all he possibly can, which is highly, highly unusual. Those boundaries are rarely broken or crossed. Those lines are ingrained into the very fabric of the pyramid, the various houses having their own cults within the overarching pyramid.
I kind of listen into what's being said. I know I won't be able to make sense of it at this point, but I kind of take mental notes, and that way, once I can get Everett alone, I'll kind of ask him what could this potentially mean.
So to clarify, James is talking to the Tremere Seraph of the Chantry.
Mm-hmm. The recently promoted.
It seems to be uncommon to approach the Seraph.
Yeah, Yep, even when as newly appointed as Mr. Fairmont, to especially being it is clear that he's in the same cult of personality in line behind Sylvia. If you notice on the on the whiteboard and mural, the color of the tags for the names there signify which camp those people are in. And as you see, James and Mr. Fairmont are in two different camps. Sylvia basically is the head of the clan Absissimus, well, the house Absissimus within the Chantry. Shortly, like 2 steps underneath her, is the sheriff, Julius Fairmont, who has risen to a rank that is unheard of for someone as low-skilled as he is. And James is working him as if they were two heavyweights in the ring, verbally and socially, and just beating him across the shoulders and slowly and carefully ingratiating himself while also trying to wring out as much information as possible. That doesn't happen, especially so plainly for everyone to see.
Well, I'm making mention note that James doing that, and I always Elliot would know, be like, I don't know, that's a pretty ballsy move, but he's his own person and I'm my own person, so I hope James knows what he's doing. And I'm gonna tell him back to the coterie and say, oh, sorry, I was just talking to my other members. Is there anything up with y'all? Do you need anything?
We got a problem.
I have no. Yeah, it's okay. We're safe here.
You do realize, you know, if I say there's a problem, there's a big problem. You know that, right?
What's the problem?
One of the kindred has a badge that definitively is from Searchlight.
Where are they?
I make an eye motion and say, don't look.
I don't look.
Do you know if there's like greater security here? Can we inform them?
I wouldn't. If they figured out that there is a Searchlight, someone that might have Searchlight connections in this place, it would be war. And would probably be fucking chaos. Act natural and be prepared to run the fuck away at any moment.
A quick question to the ST.
Yes, sir.
This seems very uncommon for our clan to have such a slip-up. Would I be able to guess who might have fucked up?
Well, not to be stereotypical, but it's usually either House Cardinal or House Absissimus who would risk bigger than they are willing to lose.
And everywhere is mentally checking off every single turmoil off his head, either from all the houses, literally. And he's trying to think what's the plan. He could either alert another high official member, or he could move towards the SAS officer and play something on him. And for lack of better terms, because this seems to be a very, very bad fucked up. And if Everett might say something, it might look bad. And if it's true that a war might happen between the houses if somebody really did fucked up. So Everett, while he's thinking that, he's remaining calm. And, he's still socially talking to everybody, saying hi to all that.
I continue saying to the group in a very hush-hush tone, if anyone gets near, I immediately shut up, but I immediately go, this is bad. So I will be formulating an escape plan in the event that a raid occurs.
Okay, so let me ask you, Pedro, the guy who that icon, is it on something that maybe if we can get them out of here, or maybe get them somewhere else, or maybe possibly set somebody up, like the people who has been actually making raids against Dolton? Something like that. Can we turn it to our advantage?
Can you repeat that? Because you cut out a lot for me.
Can we use this to our advantage? Can we maybe put this on someone that we kind of want to get rid of? Like the group
could use. I say, yeah, we could actually. It would be difficult, but if we were to somehow get a hold of that pin, we could plant it on someone we dislike, and if somebody were to know exactly what it is, it could signal them out as I spy.
Alright, so now we just gotta figure out who do we put on Everett. You disappeared. You found out that the people who were making raids against Dolton was this locals, and you ran to go tell somebody. Why did you do that?
Everett will look at Dami with somewhat of a glow and said, I don't think you remember your history, but the first time that this happened, they came back for the second time. We can't play little games having cat and mouse with each member of our society. I'm not exactly sure how that will play out, since this whole party, Elysium, is meant for us to coexist together. Having planned something on another member is frowned upon, even for me.
All I can say is that if somebody figures out what that badge means, something bad's going to happen. Bad.
Would you like me to alert somebody?
Oh, yes, let's alert somebody to the potential war-starting threat.
Yes, somebody of importance that would know that we did the right thing, and asking them and telling them that
when it comes to spies, the worst thing that they can do is feed false information. And we can maybe, fuck them up a little bit. Not physically, but mentally. In the belief, maybe crap is not true. Maybe we can help our greater society as a whole against them.
I'm definitely game.
I don't know. Is that a kindred or is it a human?
What do they look like to me?
Even if they're human, they would be in the company of a member of the Chantry. Everyone here, all of the high-ranking people that are causing the small aside conversations and having the freedom to move about are kindred. So their security team, if not kindred, would still fall solely under the operation of the masquerade as a whole. In other words, it really doesn't matter whether they're human or kindred. The fact that they're here, they are part of kindred society in one shape, fashion, or form.
They're part of our little society, regardless. But if they're here, it's bad. We need to figure out who they are and what they're after. I could go up to them, but the SI do have me on file as a blank body.
It's definitely our best diplomat.
I'm sure they have all of us now, at least visually. But you 100% sure that they're working for them?
That's the badge of a SASH agent. If they're wearing it, they're either a member. No, wait, I don't know why in the hell anyone else would be wearing it regardless.
If they know who we all are anyways, I guess our best bet is to go up, try to be pleasant to them, scope them out.
Very well. Why don't we just go talk to them? And I'll make sure I shake their hand.
That's a terrible idea.
All right, so you move over, and for the first time since arriving at this gathering, at this party, you break with social climbing. You break with the higher-ranking members of the Chantry of the Midwest of Chicago and began speaking with Anand Worth and Winifred Chiatano, who are actually involved and engaged in the conversation. It's only as you close on them and their circle of security that you realize that they are also part of the cult of personality beneath Sylvia. Now, as far as the rest of the world is concerned, the kindred are all in this together. They all adhere to the laws of the masquerade. They keep themselves hidden from the public. And as far as the rest of the world are concerned, the rest of the supernatural beings, there is just one type of kindred, and that's those type of kindred, all of the kindred. Within themselves, there are lines of battle drawn based on ideological beliefs, miscues, missteps, and in other words, they fight amongst themselves but band together to present a unified image to the rest of the world. That same stance, as antiquated as it is what the Chantry puts out as far as the rest of Kendrick society. Within its bounds, there's House Ipsissimus, there's House Goratrix, there's House Tremere, and even within those houses are separate cliques of personality and cults that adhere to certain ideological beliefs. You and James hold the almost antithetical belief and ideological as those who follow Sylvia. The linchpin for them is knowledge used to overthrow not only the patriarchy, but the pyramid as a whole, to change the way that the Chantry works. With the pyramid having been broken, they see no reason to go back to the old ways and old style of a tier-based system. They are scrambling and craving with all due haste and neglect for the fallout, the ability to take over, to assume leadership of the Chantry locally and world and globally. And Anand and Winifred are wholly in that camp of belief of overthrowing the status quo, of making sure that they are persons of power, and they've risen as high as simple knowledge will allow them. They are 5 rungs from the top of the pyramid. At this point, it's diminishing returns. It's the reason why most of you all, especially you, James, Elsa, Marie, Erichto, avoid them like the plague. The only thing they can do is drag you further into the abyss. And as you approach, Anand, oh my goodness, Everett, is so good to see you. I had not realized you had arrived.
Yes, of course. This is the most welcoming party I ever had. How are you, dear?
I'm well. Not as good as Fairmont is. Can you believe that they chose that DuSable and his blind adherence to the old patriarchy has chosen yet another male as sheriff?
Oh, we all know the typical play, but no worry about that. Please tell me more about yourself. I haven't seen you in such a long time. How are you?
And Winifred pipes up, of course, you haven't seen us in quite some time. Anand, as I'm sure you are aware, has begun to take root in Cicero, of all places. But tell us about yourself, Everett. We understand that the great Southern Protectorate has had had their own issues?
Oh God, always issues with us, right? But of course, we always deal with them. You know how it always is with LA and Chicago and Europe and all that. We are trying to get our fair share of stuff, but I'm doing fine.
I'm sure you are. You managed to somehow luck your way into the right beds at the right times, but I'm sure you'd get much farther ahead if perhaps James was not the person responsible for the Southern Protectorate. I understand that he is in bed with those anarchs. Is that the case?
Not exactly sure. James is his own person. It'd probably be better suited to talk to him since I don't speak for him. Since we all are each our own person. Do you want me to introduce you?
No, I've seen his type so many times before. It's a little bothersome, a little tiresome actually, especially being as it's just more of the same, willing to lie and sleep with whomever while betraying them all at the same time.
Yes. Who are these people? Your entourage? I don't think I met all of them.
No, I'm sure our security, I speak for myself in this, Anand, but are surely beneath your notice, just sweaty men, good with violence. And your own security. I swear I did not believe that you had such a wonderfully rainbow taste.
Yes, these are all my friends here. We're all friends here, of course, but these are the people that I definitely trust the most.
You trust him? Even the dark one there? He looks very dangerous.
Oh, come on now. We never trust anybody, but of course, these are the most people that I love the most, per se, within my heart.
I see. And the scarred Nosferatu there, is he also one of those that you love?
Yes, I'm talking about this guy right here, the tall one. Oh, I see. Al Crescent. No, yeah, Abner's shorter than me, so I'm gonna be like, "Oh, are you talking about this one?" And I kind of point to Abner.
There is a twitch in Abner's eye.
Of course. I didn't believe that you would associate with the sewer rat, let alone find a way to make him look almost handsome.
I'm not a sewer rat, actually.
Yes, he is a bit picky about that, but no worries. We always find
I also hate wearing this suit regardless. But
and it speaks.
I already have a feeling I'm not gonna like you.
I start to wander off at this point because whatever's about to happen, I don't want to be right next to it.
Can I use chemistry to put a very irritating buzz in this person's ears?
I everyone will advise you not to, but I don't know about that, so that's up to you.
I mean, chemistry is a subtle art. I recommend doing it because I don't like this individual art.
Well, you most assuredly can. You can do all sorts of wonderful little things.
Okay, I rolled.
Alright, and her composure is...
I hope she's, higher generations than us.
Yeah, because...
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Well, you know what they say. Chaos is a ladder. It's all in where you choose to climb. So, before we describe what is the hell that has been unleashed with a hungry kindred trying to show and prove and do all of the wonderful social things they believe vampires should do, For the record, for actions, with the information that I shared with Dami, he is seeking to escape the area instead of attempt to obtain the hard drive, which falls solely within his purview as the IT guy.
That's kind of what I was trying to wait from this person to do. I can't do it with everybody sitting there talking to us, so I'm trying to do that. I wasn't sure if I made myself clear when I said I'm walking away to do that.
Walking away from this particular area is where all of this, the exchange happened. The people that have the external hard drive is part of this entourage of people. The person who has the briefcase that was exchanged as part of this entourage of people. Everett chose the direct approach and distracted him with his presence and starting the conversation. While he's engaging them in conversation,
I thought that there was another group of people who was walking by with the hard drive. That's why I thought this person was just kind of distracting us. That's why I was trying to get away from them. So out of character, this is a group of people who have the hard drive.
Correct. The center of people are the folks you saw exchanging the hard drive for the briefcase. It's the circle of people that Abner recognized the sash sigil upon. This is the circle of people who have a clear, less than noble impulse when it comes to the pyramid and chantry as a whole. This is the circle of people that you all were watching that caught your attention.
Okay. Then in that case, no, I'm not going to walk away. I thought there was another group of people that were getting away at this point. That's why I was trying to get to them. But in that case, I'll just stay here.
And in this exchange, knowing how odious they are, knowing how they look down their nose on anyone who is not Tremere, and even some of those who are, as the ringing stars, while no one else can hear it, you can see upon her face as there's a twitch that develops along the left side, an annoying, very obvious tick as she's attempting to ignore what only she can hear. The dog whistle that seems attuned solely to her point of aggravation. And as she twitches, the left side of her face seizes up as if she's having a stroke or a heart attack, and her fangs elongate as her saliva begins to flow freely as if someone turned on a faucet. Her eyes go immediately bloodshot, and her fingers darken to the shade of plum. Not her fingernails, the very tips of her fingers, as the air begins to warm around her.
Where is the hard drive at this exact moment?
In the outer pocket of one of her security team.
Okay. I'm going to watch the hard drive a little more closely, taking my sunglasses out to cover out what I'm seeing so that people can't track what I'm doing. I'm going to keep an eye on the hard drive specifically and pick my shot. When that person is most distracted, I'm going to go ahead and try to pick his pocket.
Okay, so as she's starting the first steps of a frenzy, Dami, you're attempting to target her security officer. What are the other members of the troupe doing?
Would I recognize what is about to happen?
She is losing complete and total control over her semblance of being. Yes, you understand that the onset of a very hungry beast rising to the fore, unbidden.
I look at that and I immediately turn to Everett and say, yeah, we need to run.
You say your fingers, nails are turning black, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would this be bloodthirsty?
Most assuredly. It is a very potent sign that something is happening with her very vitae, as if her beast is urging her towards divesting the area of its vitae.
Not so proper now, are you?
Now when she's with the beast is talking, I'm just going to move away. Wait,
Yeah.
okay. Quick question with the ST.
Mm-hmm.
This is Asylum, right?
Elysium? No, you guys are
Elysium.
Republic. This is technically treated like a temporary Elysium, but unfortunately, you all don't have the ability to truly rule it as one. It's just suspected social Elysium. You're suspected to be on your best behavior, not violate the masquerade.
In that case, since we won't be breaking the masquerade, Abner will grab Everett by the collar and say, yeah, no. And then I just put as much distance between me and her, along with Everett.
I go with him because I'm not liking to stop him, basically.
I'm also making sure that as many of the vampires are in between us as possible because, hey, they're expendable, so.
I'll follow suit behind them.
All right. So, let's get down to brass tacks, shall we, gentlemen? All right, Dami, roll dexterity and larceny. And while you roll dexterity and larceny, Abner, who are you adding your assistance to? Everett or David?
Assistance in dodging?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll probably
Everett's the
fine.
weaker one, so. Alright, yeah, I'll add a teamwork to Everett.
All right. Ev, dexterity and athletics, and how many dots in celerity do you have, Abner?
I have one.
All right. Dexterity and athletics, Ev, with an additional +1 die. Dave, you have the same roll. And with that being the case, let's get her going. What's that?
I'm gonna spend a willpower because, yeah, that's not my strongest shoot.
Oh god.
Ooh, well now.
Ooh!
David got ghost. He's outside in the car warming it up, listening to music while we are running.
All right. So for you are, let's start with David at the center, well, near the center of this. You are greased lightning. You are stealth made flesh, as everyone's gasping and oohing and ahhing, coming to grips with the fact that one of them is losing control in such a horribly public venue and making themselves look like absolute shit in the process. You can feel her stock, her social stock, plummet through the floor, bottom out, and through the basement, into the sub-basement, below the sub-basement. The esteem that she once held, which was not very much considering, dissipates almost instantaneously as people start to take a half a step back, not to intervene, not to stop her from making a fool of herself, but to get a better vantage point to watch it happen. That is how bloodthirsty socially the Tremere are with each other. And as they're moving back and away and you become stealth-made flesh, the security officer is not quite as slow as he should be and not quite as fast as you had expected. So you slam into him as he's trying to establish distance. He catches your hand in his pocket, but not sure what the fuck is going on between you and her and the world falling to shit. So you tear away and begin running. Because you see out of the corner of your eye, Abner, Everett, and David fleeing towards the door, causing a wave of Tremere to be knocked over, pushed aside, and the security team members started reaching for their gun because they think it's an attack. And then she does the unthinkable. She should not be strong enough to do what she is doing. You will take, unfortunately, one level of health as it hits you, as the wave washes over you. A pool of vitae begins to amass over her head. And while you all may be mentally young enough to keep prepared to what's going on in today's day and age, that first dance scene from Blade when the sprinklers sprayed blood over the kindred is happening in a localized fashion to her, as the vitae that she is pulling from the kindred in her immediate area is sucked into the air above her head and begins to fall like rain droplets
Would that include us? I didn't hear correctly.
There's the damage part, but do we lose?
It included dummy, definitely.
Yeah, she had 5 successes. You guys have a grand total of 4.5, 6. Yeah, because adding 6 and 3, it gives you a 9, which instead of being split 3 ways, it's split 2 ways. So it's 4.5. So each of you can take 1 health level of damage as you feel your vitae being drunk from you from a distance. Added to that cloud over her head as she causes something that should not be able at her level, or at least what people believe her level was, her level of ability and social standing within the pyramid.
This is aggravated or superficial?
No, just 1 health level, 1 regular health level. It's not aggravated.
Okay, yeah. Just making sure.
This is Viva Vitae, right?
Wait, health or hunger?
Health. Just 1 health level. Your hunger won't raise in this situation. No one's penalized by GM or story fiat if you guys haven't realized. Only if you actually engage and take that risk will it actually happen in that manner. Well, you
okay, so we take 1. So we take 1 superficial damage.
Correct.
Okay, just double checking because I got confused.
Quick question to the SD.
Yes, sir.
When I greeted her, I did touch her hand and stuff, right?
You greeted her security team, and he says she called herself taking a step up the rung by snubbing you in public. You did shake her friend hand, Anand, because Anand is a little less cutthroat and playfully throwing out barbs versus actually meaning every cutting remark that she stated. As this is happening, unfortunately, in a situation where it is a clear-cut attack, the security team is a little more defined as to who is the problem. And the other kindred who are here are a little hungrier because they're not as hardy nor as blessed by fate as you all are. And you hear hisses of aggravation and annoyance and outright anger erupting from the crowd as she creates a scene that is impossible to live down as anything more than what it is. It is a supernatural attack against the Chantry from within. She has lost all semblance of composure. And you know that scene in every movie where there's ever any inclination or hint towards a bar fight erupting? You are well past that situation. Except for the bar fight here will be a very wizardly duel, mad frenzied sort of engagement. There, amongst the hisses, you feel the air charged with ions. You feel the lightning rumbling, and there's a darkness on the horizon. What are you all attempting to do at this point as you make your way away from the center of this?
I go to the door, cause F this. They can kill each other all they want.
I'm gonna have to agree with Abner. I'm down with that.
So I know Abner's taking me outside the door, but just to... I don't know if I should do this or not. But I'm thinking of doing Cauldron of Blood on the person I touched with her security team.
Question. I got the hard drive, right?
You do.
Good enough for me. I'm out.
Abner, external hard drive, which is in the mass of this hellstorm that's about to explode.
Yeah, on him.
Besets the environment. As you all make it to the door, no need to make any room. Then either of you all, there's not a night. Whatever gives you that ability.
Call, and I'll explain later.
Well, with everyone being of the same mind, getting out at this point is child's play. It's beneath child's play because now the upper echelon of the Chantry have to force a calm as madness takes hold. It is what should never happen. Angry kindred venting their anger against each other with all due. And as you all leave, mending the flesh, trying to overcome the wave of pain and that brushed against you, because it's just a brush. You all were on the outer edge and making your way further away. You all weren't hit with the full weight of someone divesting you all of your much needed vitae in one explosive moment. As you all hit the Dan Ryan, making your way south, you realize that David is considerably more frantic than he had been in any of the most dangerous situations you've been in thus far. You stood down zombies and stood face to face with powerful kindred, rendering them into nothingness. You have stood down the onslaught of Sash. You guys have outrun angry kindred of the tower, seeking to control an area. You've engaged in high-speed chase, and yet now on a nice leisurely drive down 94 toward Dolton, there's a tremor in David's arm. His leg is going almost a mile a minute as he keeps the gas nice and even, and you guys leave this portion of the city.
You okay there, David?
Yeah.
Just a little terrified.
Well, okay, yeah, fair.
Of what?
Have you seen what just happened?
I didn't even know that would work.
I thought that was just part of the show.
You know what? Yeah. And then I looked to Everett. What the fuck was that?
All I wanted to do was annoy her a little bit since she was being a bitch. I didn't think any of that would happen.
Well,
Wait.
look at it this way.
Wait.
You did annoy her.
I look to David in the rearview mirror. What do you mean, annoy her?
What did you do?
I put a little nugget of an illusion in her head. Just
Wait, you can do that?
That was awesome.
Okay, yeah, you doing that is awesome, but wait, you can do... Give me a second. Okay, what are you, David?
A rat. Well, clan-wise, I'm Ravnos. I don't even know what that meant till recently.
That was so cool. And I thought all you guys kind of died off.
So, quick question, what's a Ravnos?
What from what I've read and heard, they were a little clan, mostly embraced gypsies, and are now almost completely dead.
David.
I got torn up by one while I was alive.
David.
Would that have happened to have been in India?
Nope.
Actually, they were mostly found in Europe.
Okay, good. It's unrelated to that one SI file then, good.
SI file?
Everyone clapped his hands. Excuse me. David. You did a minor allusion to a fake. A true meal in somewhat of a safe place. I'm not exactly mad at you, but does that cause a track to be spun into you?
She probably won't even remember what happened after that.
Oh no, dear honey. She's not gonna remember, because her head is gonna be cut off from what she did.
I'm actually kind of happy about that.
And I'm sure what we wanted to do was not start a war within the Chicago Chantry of different clans, but I'm sure this isn't going to play out not very well.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a civil war. Yeah, 100%.
She was messing with Coterie, so I messed her back. That was my transport.
David, she was messing with me. We both know that I don't really care.
she was being a fucking slimy bitch.
All
That's
dominant
why.
thing. And it was calling Everett basically a slut. The one
David, I don't care if I'm a slut or not. It doesn't bother me. Why? Because I know I'm better than her. However, the truth is, whatever the fuck she did isn't something she's supposed to do.
Okay.
Be that as it may, good looking out, David. I'm gonna clone this, and then we can just figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, so about that flash drive. Yeah, make a copy of that, because I want to look at it as...
Yeah, I'm gonna be very careful about cloning it though, because I don't want any traps or...
Oh, there's most likely a trap or 3.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
You know, load it into the back computer, Abner.
Do what?
I said, you know, load it into the back computer.
I don't get that reference. What are you talking about?
The back cave.
Abner just looks at you.
I don't know.
I don't think he knows what you're saying, but actually, I have a back computer.
What? What's a bad computer? What the... Is this a reference to you kids do?
Quick question. Would I know what she did? I know it's bloodthirsty, but would I know what type of magic she did? Just to kind of get a better understanding of how and where she learned how to do that.
Well, figuring out where she learned how to do that is information is kept based on level. And with her being the lowest rung, there's no way, no reason for her to have that level of understanding that she was able to pull the Tay from a distance and an area of effect. It is clear that someone or something provided her with knowledge beyond her level of understanding.
And it might be on this.
All right. So,
what is the plan as you all are heading back towards Dolton? Where are you guys heading? What is your plan? Because two things are most definitive. That what happened tonight definitely caught everyone's attention. And 2, what you don't necessarily want to tell your troop mates, but there is already no shortage of civil strife between the houses of the pyramid. But what she did pointed fingers that sibling rivalry in-house has blown into either full-on outright warfare or worse.
So, Everett, explain what that was. How did she do it? What even was that? Why are you able to do it? How can I figure out how to do that so I can burn it down so that no one else can?
Everett is definitely fuming. And if he had present, it would definitely be a very strong presence of intimidation, anger, and disgust. And he's going through everything in his head. And he simply says, there's going to be a... Oh, God. I don't know exactly how to say this.
Just say it.
This isn't gonna be taken lightly within the Chantry, and I'm sure there's gonna be a bigger war within the Chantry.
So the Tremere are now going to be at war, is what I'm hearing.
If they take it in a lighter note, maybe they might slap a few wrists and up, but that's not always happen. There's gonna be something's gonna happen.
Yeah, knowing the rest of us blank bodies, yeah, that's not gonna happen. So we're screwed.
Okay, so let's slow down. What the heck is a blank body? I've heard that term multiple times and I don't know what it means. What is
it's the SI slang. Oh, it's SI slang for what you guys are. It's basically It's because you guys don't show up on radar.
Yes,
Divine.
those two SAS agents. They're in the middle of all that, and I'm sure they're very much dead. Because, like I said, having a bloodbath with a Tramiel is never good. And knowing our history as of late, this might not even spark within locally. This might go a bit nationwide, maybe even universal.
I doubt that, but what I do know is that a bunch of blank bodies fighting each other is exactly what the Inquisition wants.
Which is very bad. This is why I just wanted to gather information, maybe get the hard drive, maybe have the SAS agents dealt with, but seems like that fucking bitch wanted to gain a seat at the table so badly.
She literally used unauthorized? Is that the word I would use here? Unauthorized knowledge? You said that she shouldn't be able to do that. Do you guys restrict that or something?
I'm thinking it more, unless she's high, I think it more about she should have been able to do that. That's what I'm guessing.
Both. One, she shouldn't have been able to, since no one should have taught her that. And she shouldn't have been able to pull it out when being consumed by her beast. And when your beast takes over, you do the simplest, most direct path of obtaining of attaining blood. Her first thought was not only to attain all of the blood all at once, but her instinctual response was to use an ability that she shouldn't have had access to instinctually.
That sorcery is in commonplace, and it's very, very rare for that to come out of a sorting circle of knowledge. What he was able to do should have never had happened. He shouldn't have been able to do that. He shouldn't.
I just thought of something.
Yes.
Does your little sorcery tricks require conscious thought?
For the most part, for everything we do, yes, it does.
How did she do that when she was getting controlled by her beast?
That's what scares me. She has unregistered knowledge of arts that she shouldn't know. She was able to do those certain arts while under the influence of her beast. And I don't know how she got those knowledge or ability.
So unregulated thoughts, unregulated abilities, and somehow able to use her powers while under the influence of her beast. Oh, that's no good.
No. But don't worry.
Some super old elder I hear about and become some uber powerful vampire. I don't know. That makes sense to me.
I may need to try to find that file again. There was a file. It was long ago. It was before my time. I skimmed it. I don't know the details of it, but it was labeled. I think it was a very important assessment on an event that happened in India.
Is the same thing you're talking about with my clan?
From what I've heard, it was a weird event.
Are you talking about the Week of Nightmares?
Is that what you guys call it? We called it... We don't know what it was. I don't know the details. All I know is that there was They dropped a nuke is effectively the end result of what happened. That's all I really know. And it was apparently caused by blink bodies.
I was thinking I could nap during that.
Well, it's not the first time that's happened, sadly. There have been quite a few recent events where huge swaths of areas have been set aflame or been besieged in urban warfare to the point that bombs have been dropped from drones. There have been implanted explosions, targeted explosions, and outright militaristic armed warfare in the various streets of various cities. The destruction of a blank body of note is always a good thing as far as the powers that be are concerned. Those accidents, those crime scenes against humanity have been swept under the rug. It's become commonplace that if a situation or a place gets bad enough or worse enough, that it will result in the area being as razed to the ground as possible. And for the most part, especially on the world stage, using the terms of a terrorist action or a strife being put down usually covers it up enough. That's a lot more difficult to do in places such as the US, in places such as Sweden or Stockholm, or even, Moscow itself. It's harder to pull those things off because there's more cover-up needed. The farther you are away from what's considered a first world nation community center, the easier it is to cover up. Here's the reason why in the States, it's always a gas explosion or a club shooting or a horrific traffic accident. And even that still requires a AAA level of encryption to break down the social media feeds or the conspiracy theory websites, or to cover it up with the local news and make it seem like that's the accurate story. It's a lot harder to get people to buy in those areas. And if you have a blank body with the ability to use such a vaunted high-level super secret magical ability when not in their right mind, to cover it up in a place like Chicago would require far more resources than you all can spare. And I say you all, even though you're still a member of the organization, you are decidedly field, you are deep cover. And this means that you don't have enough resources in the area.
Oh no, I just thought of something.
And that is?
I was saying that out loud.
That was good that we're driving away from this area?
Oh, very much so. Because knowing how the SI work, they don't have the resources to cover that up easily.
I want to do intelligence and on occult roll on the Week of Nightmares to kind of gather. I want to see if that goes aligned with what happened tonight.
Of mortal forces using outright full means to destroy and otherwise curtail supernatural activity. Based on social gossip, based on what you know, there's no roll necessary. It is literally word of mouth, because you all don't trust electronic transmission of information, or someone who has a journal about that, which means you should be able to contact James at a later date to go through his records and whoever he has access to records, or head to the Chantry house where those records would be kept. But off the top of your head, the Week of Nightmares was a significantly powerful elder who had begun to take over a region and a realm and was beset by mortal forces, and they bombed the place back to the Stone Ages.
I need that file. I hope they didn't delete it or something. I need to figure out if the potential of. I'm trying to figure out if there was evidence that one of us did that or something similar to that. That weird magic thing where their beast could do magic or whatever.
What I want to know is that if says there's any more ravenous out there.
I mean, I'm looking at one right now, so...
I'm wondering if it's an endangered species or not.
Oh, you probably are. But then again, I'm also a unicorn, so... I mean, the rumor is my clan only has like 7 of us left.
That many out there? I thought it was more to like 2.
Point is, there's not a lot of us.
David, take me to my haven. I have reinforcements for this type of issues. We might be safer there for tonight rather than anything else.
I gotta go home. I gotta go to my haven and get to work on this hard drive.
I can go to both. I'll drop Dami off first.
Yeah, I think I need to take a bath. I'm a bit bloody.
A little bit of acid on my back.
So as you all divest yourselves of each other's company and head to your various places, what pops into each other's head as to what's the plan is for later? What is the plan for...
I'll see you guys tomorrow. I got to use every trick I can think of to make sure that when I crack this bad boy, it doesn't lead back to us.
Well, seeing as I'm such a big old slut, might as well be the biggest slut ever. And I don't know. Like I said, my house is reinforced for this type of thing. Maybe I want to come.
I really would not like to know what goes on there.
Yeah.
Full bondage, no lengths.
As I finish typing up a text on my phone, I send it and then turn off the phone. And then I look to the group and say, so we're going to hang out at your house tonight?
Well, seeing as what we just saw, I don't think you're prepared to stop anybody from coming in like that.
Oh, no, good point. Yeah, fair point. Yeah, I'm working with that logic. I'm probably also going to sleep under your floorboards, because fuck that.
I have an extra bed for anybody that wants to take it.
I'm good with the couch.
I'll go with the floor, honestly.
I'm not going to be sleeping tonight, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to be at my office, at my haven working on this thing.
I mean, technically you'll be dead in the morning, and then you'll come back to life. I still don't get that blank body ability. Why can we do that?
I don't know.
Because we're dead. Duh.
It's just... whatever.
The sun hates us.
I guess,
even when
I
we're
get that. I'm referring
safe.
to can we... You know what? Never mind. I don't care. Okay, I mean, I care. I'm overthinking things again.
These things happen. And as everyone bids themselves adieu, I want to thank you all for tonight's session and look forward to seeing you all next week. It was fun. GG and all that good stuff. I will see you guys later. Thanks so much.
See you later.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Well, that was a fun session.
I did not expect her to get a bestial failure in frenzy like that.
That was awesome.
That was out of left field.
I'm pretty sure that she's dead.